It's something that made them create an explosion. I think he had half the spending all day out welding bulldozers and whatever he was in.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to see so many of the people of Tinian out tonight sharing their experiences with the 509 Conference Group, who extend their thanks to everyone that's made this group very, very special. Tonight, the purpose of this gathering is to dedicate a painting which I have worked on for over 3 years now. The painting documents a moment in history, that changed world history, and also helped end the bloodiest conflict in mankind's history. The painting was executed after very careful research, talking with the group members, asking about their recollections of the day, the color of the cloud, and so forth. The painting depicts Bach's car, which is named after Fred Bach, who is with us tonight, leaving Nagasaki after dropping the Fat Man. And of course, the cloud is rising in the background. The painting and I would like to stress this, the painting is in no way an attempt to glorify war. It is an attempt to document a historic moment. It is meant to give people a way to visualize a moment that changed world history. When I first came to Tinian, I went to the bomb pits, explored a lot of historic areas, but nowhere on the island was there an image that you could look at and sort of be astounded by the magnitude of what happened based on this island. So in 1994, negotiations with the mayor's office, I was commissioned to do this painting, and it was supposed to be hung in 1995, but due to the Enola Gay controversy and other, I guess, political problems, the painting was postponed. And it has turned out very fortunate that the dedication of the painting coincided with the visit of the 509 Thompson Group. I guess I'm sort of thrilled to be able to present the painting with the members of the 509 here to see it. The painting will hang, as I understand it, in the library of the high school. And as such, it will be hopefully used in an educational context. School children will be able to look at this and to understand the magnitude of the history that originated from this island. And as I said, the painting I've been working on it for about 3 years. The painting is 6 feet by 4 feet, so it's designed to be large so that it gives a visual impact that can in some way come close to letting people experience what Fred Bach and some of the other men on the mission made experience. So very happy to dedicate it tonight. And I would also like to mention the fact that part of the dedication is to my father, who was a 4th Division Marine and fought on Tinian. He was killed when I was 4 years old in the Korean conflict, so I never really knew him. And also my uncle, who was a 67 Seabee, who helped build the North Field and also worked on the atomic bomb loading pits. So in part, the painting is dedicated to them. I would like to read the plaque that will hang beside the painting for you. The title of the painting is "The B-29 Boxcar Over Nagasaki After Dropping the Atomic Bomb on Fat Man on August 9, 1945. This action hastened the Japanese decision to surrender on August 15, 1945, thus ending the bloodiest conflict in history. Dedicated to all who served on Tinian in 1944 and 1945, may the vast sacrifices lead to wisdom, tolerance, and eternal peace. I do have some small prints of the painting, which I would be happy to sign for people if they would like to see me after the presentation. As we continue the program tonight, we have a presentation of slides which have to do with the 509 Constant Group. And so in the next few minutes, we'll set the slide projector up and we'll proceed with that. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about the painting after we complete the slides. I put together that pertains to the 509 condition of 509, and it was intended for this to be more or less a seminar where we project the slide, I'll make a comment, and give 509 people that would like to make a comment about their memories of the events and so forth, so that the public can ask questions. So as we proceed, we'd like this to be a give and take situation where people can ask questions. And remember that I'm not the expert. The experts are here among us today with the 509 making these slides pertain to you. So maybe they can answer these questions better than I can. But I'll be the facilitator as we move through this. Please feel free to ask questions and make this a give and take sort of situation so people can learn as much as possible in this amount of time we have allocated for this. The photograph you see here is a National Archives photo that shows Northfield directly overhead, so you can see what an amazing architectural and engineering feat it was. And of course, if you look, see, right up here, you see the distinctive long area, line-shaped art stands. Also, right over here, you can see one of the tank areas where components of the bombs are actually assembled. This area over here, of course, it's heavy bomb jungle today. The three assembly sheds, which some of you visited yesterday, are up in this area up here. Northfield was the world's largest and busiest airfield at the time of its height of its operation, and one of World War II's largest engineering feats. And many of the people who flew B-29 and the crew members probably remember this site. This is coming into the western approach to Northfield. Once again, you can see what a magnificent engineering and architectural feature was. You can also see the distinct white coral runways. And this is a shot from the east side. And you can also, one of the interesting things about this shot is after a certain amount of time, an asphalt wearing surface was put over the white coral. So here you see the black asphalt wearing surface on the coral. And Ken Ivins sent me this photo not too long ago, which I turned into a slide. This is an actual color photo of the period. It gives you an idea of what it looked like in living color. And one of the things, you can see the black asphalt wearing surfaces. And also over here, you can see the remnants of the original Japanese Uchi Point airfield. And of course, this area right in here was a crash strip, which was designated for B-29s that had bombs that had come in for crash landing. This was this area between the two runways was the area they were supposed to use. In this photo, you see the 509 camp right there. You see the traffic circle on 8th Avenue, and you also see the 4 runways in Northfield. And in this area down here is the best of my research, the area that the 509 art stands were in. an aerial view of the 509 campsite. The 509 members were lucky enough to actually take the trip back into the camp the other day. Carmen Sanchez and her crew cleared the pathways so that they were able to proceed up the entrance to the camp, to the old planter, up to the theater, over to the mess hall, and back out. So quite a treat. Carmen's going to be thanked and commended for all her efforts. The 509, that was one of the few camps that had one over the flange, metal flange. And this shot of the 509 camp was taken from the tower. So a lot of excellent shots of the 509 camp were taken from the tower because it was an excellent aerial view. And the actual quarters for the flight officers of the 509 were in this area over here. So the crews that actually did the flying, all the pumping missions and the atomic strike missions were quartered in this area over here. And maybe Jim Price, Fred Bach, Wadowski, some of those guys can actually identify which monster was which crew, but that was the area they lived in. Of course, you can see in Northfield here in Saipan in the distance, and this is the old planter that, for those of you that took the trip the other day, this is the old planter that you stopped and it's chopped out of the window there for you. This is a shot looking directly into the camp, and of course you can see I guess guardhouse right here. You can also see the tower, and so another interesting shot of the entrance to the camp.
Were all the camps had guards, or just the 509?
Maybe one of the 509 people can answer that. Just the 509 can answer this. Another shot of the entrance with the oval shaped planter, the 509 composite group sign there. And of course that was the planter, that's the way it looked when Carmen and I found it in 1995. Of course she cleaned it all off so they could have a great view of it when they went in the other day. And also, some of you may have followed the path that led to the site of the 4 helmets on the post in the 509 camp. And that feature was actually erected by the 13 Seabees who occupied that camp before the 509. It was in memory of several of the 13 Seabees who were critically injured in the campaign. And this is another color photo of the camp, and you can see the distinctive coral lined walkways. And one of the ways you navigate the camp today is, of course, to find these coral lined walkways. They still exist in the camp, and for those you can sort of navigate around the large mess hall here, which the members were actually saw the other day. Of course, the only concrete pad that exists today, but that was a large mess hall. And this is camp life. This is what the guys did. Jim Price, I know, had a little motor scooter that was built out of the salvage Japanese parts, and it looks like you can see one of those there. The guys are working on a bike or so forth. But this is sort of gives you an idea of what camp life was at the time.
Thank you.
Jim Price says he thinks that's his bicycle. This is an interesting shot. This is 2 photos, a photo here and a photo here. This actually shows the 509 card. I can't identify whoever it is, but it actually shows somebody snapped out. And it shows one of the wooden beds that the Seabees built, where they had a wooden frame and introduced some tires and put them into strips and actually made a soft mattress. And over here you see a cat stretched out on someone's bed. Maybe some of you might want to remember who that pet cats. I don't know. Give you sort of an idea what their living quarters are like. You have to remember that the missions to Japan often took 14, 16, 18 hours. So to fly one of those missions was quite exhausting. And I know Jim Price says he used to fly the missions and come back and just sleep for it seemed like 2 days. And this is an interesting shot that I bought for Carmen because I've been over here many times to describe these little motorboats that the guys made. And the first time I told her about it, she looked at me like I was crazy. And then we were out in the jungle and they actually found one. They were pontoons, gasoline pontoons that they cut holes in, and I guess they took a Jeep engine and mounted it on it, and they actually had like a little motorboat. And this is the 509 camp. This is the tower back there, so you can tell it's in the 509 camp, and I don't know who these two guys are. Maybe some of you guys can remember who had a motorboat. Another shot of Ken Ives standing in one of the coral line walkways. Gives you an idea what the camps look like. Quonset huts. And this was the theater. And of course, the people that went into the camp the other day got to walk all around the theater. The 13 Seabees built an incredible theater in 509 camp. It's one of the few on the island that's constructed like that. Massive coral blocks, and it's built up at the end. It's almost like a peacock moving in the jungle. Fascinating feature.
The name of the thing was the Holocaust Theater, made out of Holocaust.
And
What was that? What was it called?
he says it was called Bomb Box Theater. I'm not sure, maybe some of the 509 people can.
And there were several of those on the island, but not as large as that.
Yeah, there was a theater in every camp. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the servicemen, they didn't like to move in their camp to go to another bomb group wants to move there. It's one of the ways to keep morale up is that people have a movie every night. But this was the 509 theater. Another shot here, and you can see the tower of the camp. And interesting shot here because this light up in the corner of the projection booth is still in the camp, sitting in the ground. I think a lot of those 509 guys actually saw it the other day. And this is the southern end of Tinian. I put this in because we have a member of the 308 General Hospital with us, and he was to be stationed down here. This is the big hospital that they were building to treat all of the thousands of casualties that were expected in the invasion of Japan. And of course, that was never completed because the war stopped, and they just dropped everything and stopped construction on it. This is the south end of the island, the plateau, and there's the harbor up here. Interesting shot. And we have some members of 67 Seabees with us also. This gives you some idea of some of the art that existed here designating each camp. This was the 67 Seabees sign outside their camp. And you can see the distinctive bumblebee with the machine gun and tool buzzing around there. So it's an interesting color shot. Many of the Seabee camps sort of vibe with each other. The Seabees make the best and most interesting signs.
It's right at the traffic circle.
Yeah, right at the traffic circle before you go to Northfield. And this is an interesting shot of 67 Seabees camp that gives you an idea of what the camps look like in color. And of course here you see the American flag hat mask because this was on the day Roosevelt got where Roosevelt died. So all the flags on the island were lowered to hat mask. But you see the Quonset huts and the tents that the troops lived in. The shot of Northfield here is a great shot. Here you can see the loading pits. This is tech area, number one over here, where a lot of the work on the bomb casings and so forth was done. They had a place called the Inner Sanctum, which was small Quonset huts that they did the very delicate electrical work in. And of course, these are the three sheds up here where the actual bombs were assembled. The closest one is where this bomb that struck Hiroshima was assembled, and then the one furthest away was where the Fat Man was assembled. And you can actually see the road that we took the other day leading up to the bomb pits there.
What's that large hard stand area right next to the actual loading pits?
This right here?
Yeah.
That's just a wash-shaped hard stand. The TVs built several of those on the Northfield. And then whenever they got equipment, they would just make two because it would take up less room for parking from down there.
It seemed like the road we went into the assembly area was on the other side of it. Is that right?
The road that we went in doesn't follow the same route as this one exactly. It goes down and then goes around to the front. The actual road at the time of 45 went around behind to the back there. So the road is a little different today. But that was a very, very high security area that you had to have 2 or 3 different passes to get into. And of course, some of the brightest minds in the United States were assembled here on the island, put the bombs together, the components and so course, that's the distinctive little boy bomb that destroyed Hiroshima. And you guys that went up to the shed, the side of the shed, that's where that bomb was assembled. This is the bomb that was assembled there.
What's the piece on the top of it? On the top of that ball?
That's electronic equipment. I suppose that where the signals were relayed either out that the bomb was working or received electronic signals from the plane to actually activate certain components. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Fred knows that.
I'm not sure.
And these are the members of the First Ordnance people who actually worked on the bomb and have the photograph taken in August of 1945. And there are people in there like Phil Morrison, as I said, some very great minds, and right there over here, Harlow Russ. And of course, this is the bomb pits from there today. You can see the Hiroshima pit and the Nagasaki pit, and gives you the interesting geometry of the wood there. And of course, the bomb pits were built on 67 CBs, and they clearly claimed their state of fame by signing the bomb pits in the concrete, so there's no controversy as to who actually built the atomic bomb pits. And of course, this is the hard stand area the night before the Inoue mission. And I won't take the time to identify each of these people, but it was like a Hollywood production. They had all the lights up there and many people to document it, and it's quite production. I think Jim Rice was the expediter for that mission. And I think Fred Rock was in the control tower watching the takeoff, so some of the men in the room here actually watched that mission and saw it all. These are the frontline photographers. We have one here, Adolf Gasser, made the trip with his wife, and Arnold Shanley there, and the frontline guys up there. And these are the guys that took a lot of the photos that enable us to look at what the 509 did and how they lived at that time. And of course, that's the famous shot taken by Arnold Shanley and Tibbetts looking out the window, and that shot has been used countless times in books, clothes, and so forth. And he's hardly ever got any credit for it. Most people have no idea who took that photo. He's hardly ever credited with it. And I think that's, of course, that's a terrible situation because it is an image that everybody's familiar with. It's just that he doesn't get proper credit for it. And that shot was taken in 2 seconds before Tibbetts closed the window and passed the LA out to take off the mission. Armin just yelled up at him and smiled away, and he did it, and he closed the window and taxied off.
I was standing back then.
So you remember it. Of course, that's an LGA on the return to Northfield after completing the mission, and gives you an idea of their operations there, the releasing of the B-29 to the park on the hard stand and so forth. This is also a very famous shot. You can also see the circle R on the tail fin that was changed from the arrow to the circle, and it used the Japanese. And of course, this is the Fat Man, the bomb that was dropped in Nagasaki. With a very distinguished shape. Somebody at the assembly shed yesterday asked why America could design 2 different bombs, and I believe the reason was the duplication was to try 2 different designs in case one didn't work together and do it. So it's just a matter of we had the resources to do it and the money, so we developed 2 different systems, and it just so happened that both of them worked. And this is a very interesting photograph that somebody sent me, and they didn't tell me who it was that sent it. They just said I got it in the mail one day, and it actually shows the Fat Man coming out of the shed waiting to be loaded on the Nagasaki mission. Very few color photos that exist that being done, so I have no idea who took this or how it got taken, but it does show the bomb coming out of the assembly shed on its way up to the loading dose. And this is a briefing session, and here you can see Fred Rock and several other people training session to give you some idea. I guess the flight crews went to many briefings. They would brief on everything from the weather to the target information and everything. So they did a lot of this stuff. And you can see it, of course, it's taking place on the distinctive lawns and ups, which the camp is full of. The crew of flew Boxcar on the Nagasaki strike. These are the men that were in the plane that are depicted in pain. And this gentleman right here, Fred O'Leary, was one of the first men to sign up to come on this trip, but tragically his wife died 2 days before we came over here. And I think he's in the hearts and minds of all the 500 people who were here who sort of misread. And always going through a bad time right now, seeing our love and concern.
Is that Sweeney on the
Dr. Sweeney right here. And a number of these individuals are still alive. Of course, some passed away. Jim Van Pelt passed away just a couple of years ago. It's Kermit Dean and Bob here there. All buried the pilot. I believe he was the third pilot. So he was the aircraft commander. And of course, this is the famous boxcar. Of course, we got the Fred Bach. Everyone's probably familiar with that image. And if you notice, the painting was painted boxcar on the day of the Nagasaki strike. Of course, the nose art was not on the plane at that time. A lot of people have a little controversial kind of situation there. They want to know why you put the nose art on it. It had the nose art on it the day of the Nagasaki mission, so that's why it's not on the plane. It only had the Victor numbers. It also didn't have any of the fat man on the symbol painted on it. And of course, this plane is one of the 2 509 planes that still exist. This is in the Air Force Museum in Dayton, and for pristine condition, beautifully preserved. It's one of the 2, of course, Mel Gates will be in the Smithsonian, but it's partially dismantled. So the boxcar is really one of the 509 plane that exists, fully restored.
Is it operational?
I don't think it's restored to the point where it's operational. I think it can be put into operational status fairly quickly, though. Do you know that from your friend?
Yeah, it's not operational now, but as you say, it could be.
It looks like the gas belly fly away.
It actually was flown from the storage guy Davis Moffin Air Force in Arizona, Air Force Base in Arizona. When the Air Force Museum determined that they wanted it, it was at that time reconditioned. That was 1962, and flew up to Wright Dayton under Phil Powell.
Okay. And of course, this is Fred's crew. This was probably taken a window around there.
Yeah.
They don't think they wore jackets like this on Tinian.
Is that nose made out of glass or plexiglass? The nose, the glass, it looks like glass, but is that plain glass?
It's plexiglass.
Yeah. It was bulletproof glass. If you see some of the wreckage sites before out to Northville, that stuff was incredibly thick. And I guess it was designed to stop up to 20mm camera. But that's the crew in either 1944 or 1945. This is the crew on the 50th anniversary of the mission. I took this photo on the day of the mission 50 years later in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's what they look like today. Still young and full of energy.
Any duplication in personnel between the 2 flights? Any flyable flights?
Any what?
Individuals flyable flights?
Yes, Jacob Beezer, the radar countermeasures officer, flew both missions, and I think Sweeney was on both missions. So there were some individuals that actually flew on both missions. Okay. And these are some of the airplanes of the 509. They had 15, and they had some very distinctive nose art. I don't remember really seeing those. These are all taken, most of them are taken up in Northfield. This is the great RTs. This is the plane that Fred Bach flew on the Nagasaki mission. It's the last measurement aircraft. It flew with, of course, William Lawrence, who wrote the few exercises, both Dawn and Zero. And of course, this is Sweeney and Van Pelt and O'Leary in conference before the flight, trying to, I guess, decide whether they actually wanted to fly the flight because of the fuel transfer problem. And you can see the sort of concentration that the situation there is serious. So, of course, they did decide to fly the mission even though the fuel transfer problem was prohibited them from using the fuel in the spare tank. And of course, that's a picture most people are familiar with, the accounting cloud over Nagasaki. And this is the black and white photo that I studied for the painting, but it also took into account the descriptions by the crew of the colors and how it looked and their impressions and so forth. So it's interesting to take a black and white image and bring it to life and color. That's the way it looks. And of course, this is the painting. Boxcar, early play. And these are photos that were taken with Boxcar. You can see the designated top secret up in the corner that show various stages of the clouds forming up.
How high is that cloud right there?
You'd have to ask Fred about the height of that cloud at a certain time.
But it's estimated to have gone, I think, as high as 60,000 feet.
He said it went up to 60,000 feet.
Last time to get to that.
Well, what was the elapsed time for it to reach that height?
The time?
Yeah, the time it took to rise up to that height.
I don't know, it would be in the order of many minutes. Probably 10 minutes or more.
These are other shots taken from Boxcar. You can actually see the framing of the window where they were taken. And this is, of course, the plane is up a little higher, sort of almost even with the cloud as it's coming up. And this is the bomb. I've heard different accounts of this. One person says it's 100 miles away, another person says it's 200 miles away. So I don't know, maybe Fred can shed some light on that. That's the actual cloud over Nagasaki there. The Boxcar was leaving.
What altitude would they have been at when this was taken?
Fred, what altitude would they have been at when this was taken?
Well, they made a diving, they were around 30,000 feet when the bomb was dropped and made a diving turn, put them down probably around 27,000 feet. So I would assume this was something like
About 27,000. And of course, the fuel situation almost caused disaster. In addition, the Boxcar accounts, some of the crewmen revealed one of the engines actually quit after they hit the landing field at Okinawa. They made an emergency landing in Okinawa, and of course, Fred's plane and the RTs followed it in, and then Jimmy Hopkins came in later. Hopkins never rendezvoused with the other two planes.
What did the Great Northeast return to Tinian or to Virginia?
Now, the greater, you guys followed Boxcar to Okinawa,
yeah.
right? Yantian Airfield.
Yeah, all three planes landed on Yantan Field on Okinawa.
The third aircraft that were rendezvous, they also, did you hear from it later?
Yes, that's true. The third plane also landed at Yantan Field. I think a bit after we did, but actually the third plane, I think, flew over I think even south of Nagasaki when the bomb was dropped.
Yeah, I think he actually saw once the cloud was up. I think he actually saw it. I don't know how far away it was, but he did actually see the cloud. But he wasn't in the neighborhood at all. This is Jim Van Pelt's drawing, and he did this drawing, and I have it at home, describing the color of the cloud and so forth, his impressions of it. I have several of these drawings from some of the crewmen. And this is the kind of thing that was used to do the painting, talking to the different crewmen inside and getting their input as far as colors and so forth. So this is Van Pelt's drawing. And of course, these are the leaflets that were showered by the tens of thousands on Japan, warning Japan of the utter destruction that would occur if they didn't surrender. And the Japanese had no idea we had atomic weapons at the time. But anyway, these leaflets were showered all over Japan. And of course, you hear from time to time that the Japanese had to require a warning to what was going to happen. But actually, there were leaflets being showered by tens of thousands of Japan all over the place. So the problem may have been that the Japanese authorities forbade people to pick these up to do them.
I understand that those were printed right here on the table.
Yeah. And some B-29s initially just solely would go up and drop these things. They had no bombs or anything else. They just went up and showered these things out. So I understand that they actually got a combat credit for one of these missions because, it's dangerous to go up there and do it. And this is an interesting shot. I took this last March. This is Yonten Field in Okinawa. This is where Fred landed and Boxcar landed. That's what it looks like today. And it's interesting, very similar to North Field. It's banned and it's surrounded by sugarcane fields. So this is where they landed after the mission right here on Okinawa. Yonten Airfield. We have some other members of the 504th Bomb Group here and so forth, and these are typical shots of what B-29s look like being gassed up in fuel and armed for missions. You get an idea of the tremendous weight of bombs that one of these B-29s can carry. You can see the long bandoliers and 50 caliber ammunition being loaded into the guns. So when these guys took off, they were literally flying fireballs. If anything went wrong and they crashed on takeoff, chances were they would just disintegrate into a blinding explosion. See the ordnance and so forth that went up there, you kind of understand that. Just getting off the field was very dangerous on these missions. And of course, when they launched some of these missions, planes took off 4 at a time every minute. Sometimes it took 2 hours or so to get them all off on the mission. So it was probably an amazing assembly for a spectacle. You can also get a sense of the size of the B-29 by looking at the men here. And of course, this is one of the planes that didn't make it off. This is a typical sight because many people witnessed on Tinian. Plane crashed on takeoff, and you can see another B-29 here that was taxiing and had to stop. And probably as soon as they got that cleared off, this plane went on and hit on its mission. And these are close-ups of that same crash. And you can see there wasn't much left of the aircraft. Of course, every time one of those crashes like that,
Did the size of the crew vary at all? Was it sometimes 11, sometimes 12, sometimes 10?
I think it varied because sometimes people took along newly arriving B-29 men on missions that hadn't taken combat positions, so they did take, and sometimes General Davies went on missions and so forth, so it varied. And of course, this is what you find in the Tinian jungle today. This is a gigantic block of melted aluminum that has about 8 50 caliber barrels sticking out of it. It's intersection of the nose of the B-29 that literally melted, and the two turrets just collapsed on top of each other and melted into one big block of aluminum. Very sort of astounding and tragic sight. This is up in the jungle surrounding North Field today. One of the 509 planes, Big 83, full house, getting ready to go on a mission, so you can see the guys with their equipment posing out in front of the plane on a mission. Once again, you get a sense of the scale of the B-29. Look at this.
Was there a usual takeoff time for these aircraft? Or do they fly in the hours of the day?
I think there were populations reaching daylight mission.
But I think we always took off in darkness. I mean, maybe shortly after midnight, but so they get over the target daylight and broad daylight.
But it says that they usually took off, I guess 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Dark routines, so they were allowed to in daylight, so a lot of takeoffs were conducted.
So when you see these daylight pictures, these are taken a lot of the time?
Maybe, and also they may have been just doing a flight to test the equipment to land in place or something like that. They actually do practice missions also to drop bombs on Rhoda, Marcus, and Crawford, and so forth. And that's an interesting photograph of an actual fat man named Rock. One of the few that I've actually seen. You can see it. This is the square tail. That's the big bulbous body there. You can see it hurtling down on one of the targets. And of course, this wasn't going to go straight down and hit this little road down here. This was actually on an arc that was taken into an industrial target of some sort.
Target right ahead.
Yeah. But it is one of the few shots I've seen of an actual fat man pumpkin bomb released from one down.
So the pumpkin and the fat man, the casing, were essentially identical.
Right. And these are other 509 planes, and you can see the interesting nose arc supported. And of course, they all, you can read fine print, all have programs names and name of the aircraft. You can see the number of pumpkin missions they flew and so forth. I believe this was Claude Ethel's plane here. And Ethel's plane was the weather plane, I think, for the Hiroshima strike. They're the ones that actually radioed back and said the weather over Hiroshima is good. So today, strike Hiroshima. This is next objective. That's an old gate. And you can see the North Field looked like at the time. All the white crawler you see is laid out there. Strange cargo. This is Big Steve. And of course, these aircraft were specially designed B-29s. They had no gun turrets, separate tail, they were streamlined. Some of the modifications were done so that they increased their speed, so the Japanese fighters had a very tough time intercepting them and catching up with them. They had reversible pitch props and door bomb bay doors that were open in a second and closed in a second. So they were sort of the ultimate involvement in the B-29 at that point. Fuel injected engines, What's that?
Where are the B-29s built?
Where were they built? They built them in several different plants. You need to drive around them. These are all built in Omaha. And this is Jim Price's plane right here, Sun Pumpkins. And you can see the number of pumpkin missions that they did on here. And this is Jim Price's crew. This was taken probably when over. This is Jim Price right here, and many of his crew thought that he looked like he was about 17 years old. When they first saw him, they were horrified to see some young kid coming to be the aircraft commander. He actually was arrested in San Francisco after the war for impersonating an officer. But he thought he knew. And these are some more of the problems. This is the 509 line and the hard stand area. This is what their planes look like because they were on the hard stands being gassed up and worked on and so forth. And the regular squadron was flew along the tail of the circle with the arrow in it. Of course, later on, many of those changed to use the Japanese. This is Full House with a Japanese soldier being kicked out of an outhouse. This is Lag and Dragon. Of course, the Dragon was a symbol of the original 393rd. Many of you have seen that symbol has an interesting logo.
Someone said that this was the last airplane to go?
Yeah, the last plane to come over, and it, I guess the story is that it had some components for the bombs, and when they took off in San Francisco, the inflatable life raft, the part popped open, the life raft inflated and wrapped around the tail, and it almost crashed within a moment. And, I guess Costello was the pilot, and he somehow wrestled it back into the field and averted the disaster. But They got here too late to find any natural conditions in the war. And this is Up and Adams. And Up and Adams, and George Mark claimed, and Up and Adams had an interesting life because originally she didn't have any clothes when at home she had a dress for her. Another one of the 509 aircraft. You can see where it's given the distinct circle of the area of the tail plane.
Were any of these aircraft used after the war for the tests at Bikini and Utah?
Yeah, some of them were. Some of them had their names changed, other names, different cruise on and so forth. Some of them had operational accidents, and some lived out a natural life.
Was the third model used in Bikini? The one that never got delivered here?
I don't think that was it. One, as I understand, the one that was coming over here, the components were on their way, but road stopped in San Francisco. So they never left the mainland.
So was it used in Bikini?
That I don't know. I don't know. That's something that.
The one that the B-29 that dropped the bomb at Bikini was originally Big Stink,
Big Steve.
but it was renamed Dave Dream because one of the bombardiers that had done a lot of testing in atomic bombs was killed in a crash flying out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and so they renamed the plane Dave Dream in his honor.
I believe his name is Dave Semple.
Dave Semple, yeah.
This is one of the 509 planes actually in flight. You can actually see the radar going here and the tail end. And this is one of the planes I use for reference for painting because the dark shadow underneath the plane gives the bright illumination. It gives you an idea what one look like, what they look like flying. This is one of the control towers in Northfield. This is an interesting shot because it actually looks out on the center cross strip of Northfield to give you some idea of the size of Northfield. And I believe Fred was in one of these control towers the night of the LVA took off. We actually saw it take off from one of these control towers. So I thought I'd put this in. And these are the 509 flight crews that are relaxing in one of their officers' areas here.
They had similar places for enlistment, right?
Yeah. Everybody likes to go relax. Drink a big beer and I guess tell stories and so forth. Here's one of the guard stations. You can see stops show identification. You can see this guy showing identification to the officer here. So this gives you some idea of security around some of the 509 operations. And this is an interesting picture because it shows an actual Zen garden in 509 camp. Someone has built a little monument with Japanese writing. They got a little shrine right there. Of course, they go floral walkways. And I've been interested in trying to find this area, see if any of that's still there. But hasn't been successful. I imagine most of it was knocked down or repaired or something there before. I don't know if any of the 509 people remember whose Zen garden that was outside their concert hall or if they ever remember it all. And this is Sweeney